World War II was not just fought with tanks and bombers. It was fought with secrets, deception, and the most unlikely of weapons. Today, we are exploring three bizarre stories of ingenuity and oddity that helped shape the war, proving that sometimes the strangest ideas were the most effective. This is Weird World War. Part 1. The Knitting Needle Spies. The German occupation of Czechoslovakia brought immense resistance, much of it organized by a complex network of Allied spies. Known as Operation Colossus, this was a highly unusual espionage ring centered around everyday objects. The spies were masters of using seemingly innocent items for deadly purposes. One agent's weapon of choice was the humble knitting needle. These weren't for socks. They were for stabbing tires and creating chaos in German motor pools. Simple bicycle pumps were often adapted to become makeshift firearms. But the real ingenuity lay in communication. The female agents in the network often used invisible ink hidden inside common household items. They would write messages on handkerchiefs or inside book covers using a secret formula, then pass them to other agents. When captured, their possessions looked completely normal: knitting supplies, books, and pumps. This elaborate use of the mundane allowed the resistance to operate right under the noses of the Gestapo for years, delivering vital intelligence back to the Allies. Their success proved that the deadliest spies weren't always those with a gun, but those with a great deal of ordinary deception. Part 2. The Wooden Anti-Tank Trap. When we think of tank traps, we picture massive steel teeth or concrete barriers. But necessity is the mother of invention. And during the Russian campaign, a desperate need for resources led to one of the simplest and strangest anti-tank weapons, the Czech hedgehog, made entirely of wood. The metal version of the Czech hedgehog, a three-pronged steel barrier, was effective but incredibly resource-intensive. The Soviet army, facing immense shortages, adapted the design using readily available timber. They created enormous, interlocked log structures. These wooden versions were lighter and faster to build than their metal counterparts, allowing huge defensive lines to be established quickly across the vast Russian terrain. They worked by relying on geometry rather than pure strength. When a tank rolled over the wooden spikes, the immense weight of the vehicle would cause the whole structure to rotate and flip the tank onto its softer underbelly, often disabling it or trapping it for anti-tank gunners to destroy. Entire forests were cut down to create these bizarre, giant wooden obstacles. It was an incredibly low-tech solution to the high-tech threat of German panzers, and it proved that sometimes the most effective defenses are the ones built from what you have on hand. Part 3. The Feathered Spies. Before satellite phones and encrypted radio, some of the most reliable and secret messengers in the war were birds. Pigeons, known for their incredible homing abilities, were officially recruited into the Allied forces as the National Pigeon Service. These feathered agents carried tiny aluminum capsules strapped to their legs, containing micro-written messages from deep behind enemy lines. When an agent needed to send urgent intelligence, they would release a pigeon, which would fly hundreds of miles back to its home base in England. The Germans knew the value of these birds and even deployed specially trained falcons to intercept them, a literal aerial dogfight over critical intelligence. One of the most famous feathered spies was G.I. Joe, an American pigeon who in 1943 saved the lives of over 1,000 British troops. The troops had captured a town in Italy, but the Allies were preparing to bomb it, unaware it was no longer occupied by Germans. All radio communications had failed. G.I. Joe was released, and flew 20 miles in 20 minutes, arriving just as the bombers were preparing for takeoff. His message successfully cancelled the attack, saving the entire battalion. G.I. Joe was awarded the Dickin Medal, the animal equivalent of the Victoria Cross, proving that some of the greatest heroes of the Weird World War wore feathers. From knitting needle espionage and wooden tank traps to feathered delivery services, the ingenuity and oddity of World War II is astounding. Thank you for joining us on Weird World War. Let us know in the comments which story shocked you the most. Subscribe for more untold tales from history.